Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of Dugout Talk. We've transformed into the third dimension. Um, today, today we are going to start off with a day in history, and it's a day in history because it is going to kind of determine how baseball is played in some aspects. It played a part last year, and it'll play a part again this year. And with that, we will go ahead and jump over to Steven, and he'll inform us with the details.
Yeah. First of all, I mean, February 9th, it's not a very formal day, I guess.
Hmm.
Pretty quiet day overall. But 4 years ago today in 2017, Major League Baseball announced that a variation of the Schiller rule used in international baseball will be tested in two rookie level minor leagues. In the Gulf Coast League and the Arizona League, if a game is tied after 9 innings, every subsequent inning will start with a runner already on second base.
Yeah, not a big fan of the runner at second base to start extra innings. I don't really see how this is supposed to protect MLB players from the COVID-19 virus. Sure, you get players, home and out of the stadium sooner than you maybe would, but they're still in close contact with other players for a good, 3 hours, 3.5. Baseball games are longer and longer, it seems like each year. So, you're talking about 3, 4, 5 hours before we even get to extra innings. Um, at that point, you might shave off an inning, maybe 2 or 3 innings at the very most, but they've already been going back and forth, rounding the bases in front of each other, dapping each other up with high fives and handshakes and whatnot, and chirping back and forth, for the past 9 innings in general. So I don't see why or how it's going to protect the players, but I guess it's supposed to. I guess we're just going to have to sit back and take this one.
Well, and it sounds like the players actually are kind of okay with this. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
mixed reactions from around the league, but there are players that are generally okay with this because I get it. Playing an 18 inning game, that takes
Yeah.
a toll. That
Oh, yeah.
there does get to a point where sometimes it's like, all right, this game's been going on a long time. But at the same time, it's kind of the beauty of the game. And it's not like you
Yeah.
see this on a nightly basis.
Exactly.
Um, every now and again, you'll see a game kind of go a little longer, but it's not like it's a everyday kind of thing. Sure, like maybe every day you'll see a game go 10 innings, 11 innings. That's
Mm.
normal.
Yeah.
See a game go much past the 14th inning. That doesn't happen very
Exactly.
often. And
Exactly.
I don't like this rule either. And my reason's a little different for not liking it because ever since Commissioner Manfred came in to the office to run Major League Baseball, he's been talking about pace of play, and he's just been hammering it to the ground. Like,
Yeah.
we got to speed up the game of baseball. If you look at some of the box scores from like the late 90s, early 2000s, some of those games barely went past 3 hours.
Yep.
And 3 hours is a typical 9 inning game, an hour per 3 innings. I
Yep.
think if you're a baseball fan or if you're planning to go to a baseball game, you've got to know like you should plan to be there for 3 hours, if not longer. I have not been to very many 9 inning games that have gone much past 3 hours and 15 minutes. And I live in Denver. I've been to a lot of Rockies games,
Yeah.
and not very many of them have gone much past 3 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, there've been a few, but that's usually when everyone's just hitting the ball out of the park and there's just all this offense going on. And even then, I've only been to maybe 2 or 3 games that have been like that. So to say that you need to speed the game up, Commissioner Manfred obviously is not watching the game of baseball because game times are still roughly around 3 hours average. Maybe a little over, a little under. They've
Hmm.
consistently been around 3 hours around the time since Manfred became commissioner. And he wants to do this runner on second base rule to speed up the game, essentially. He doesn't want to see 12, 13, 14 inning games. And I get it; those aren't always fun to watch. They do get kind of boring the longer it goes. It gets harder to watch. I understand that. but it's ridiculous. And with his pace of play initiative, it's only a matter of time before he starts putting a timer on innings. Um,
Yep.
and I want to say I'm kidding with that, but I'm not, because I really feel like if he is in office for another 5 years, he might implement the clock to some degree. And baseball is special in its own way in that it is not a time sport. You get 3 outs, and however long it takes you to get 3 outs, that's how long it takes you to get three
Yep.
outs. And if you can't appreciate that, you're probably not a true fan of the game. Like, and it's clear as day that Manfred is not. He says he's a fan of the game, but he's not. He's trying to bring people in who aren't traditional fans of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about this, how most people who develop a love for the game of baseball, they had someone in their lives majority of the time. Most people you talk to, they had someone in their lives who introduced them to the game and taught them how to appreciate it. For me, it was my grandpa. It probably would have been my dad, but for me, it was my grandpa who really taught me the love of the game. And he taught me at a time when I was really starting to get into sports to begin with. Um, and I just think that Manfred's trying to attract a crowd that just isn't there. Everyone's so used to, like in football and basketball and hockey, where there's a timer. You play 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it might be. Or in soccer, you got 90 minutes. Everybody's so used to that. And baseball, just that's not how it is. Now, and to go off on another little tangent, the pitch clock thing, so stupid. I mean, it doesn't really, and it never really mattered. I don't get why they had to put a clock up, because it wasn't like players were abusing their power and
Mm-hmm.
taking 2 or 3 minutes to warm up. No, all major league games are televised. In a regular local televised game, it was always an hour and 30 minutes, or good Lord, I'm sorry, a minute 30 seconds. Had me going off on hours here. A minute and 30 seconds inning break. So that's about 8 warm-up pitches right there that a pitcher can throw. In a regular season nationally televised game, I think it's 2 minutes is the wait time. And that's just because of program or sponsors getting commercials in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 minutes for nationally regular season televised games. And then in the postseason, all postseason games are nationally televised. That's like a 2 minute, 25-second wait. So, and it wasn't like the pitch clock was needed, because the umpires knew. They knew
Mm-hmm.
how long it was, and at the time they just used the warm up pitch rule. It's about eight warm up pitches for a minute 30, 10 for 2, 12
Yep.
for 225. Pitchers knew that. No one abused their power. You never saw anyone trying to squeeze in more.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did, they just threw faster. They just did their
Yeah.
warm ups faster if they wanted to do that.
Yep.
But I think this is ridiculous. I don't agree with this rule at all. And on top of that, they're doing 7 inning doubleheaders again.
Yeah.
That one I don't mind nearly as much. That one makes a little more sense, because if you have a doubleheader, you don't want a game going 15 innings long.
Yeah.
Especially if it's game one, you don't want a game one to go that long. So the 7 inning doubleheaders I don't mind as much. I actually thought last year it was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's not traditional, I understand, but if you're going to play 2 games in a day, you want to get out of there at a decent time. You want game one to finish at a decent time. If anything, if they only made game one 7 innings and then made game 2 go the traditional 9 innings, I would have even been okay with that. But 7 inning doubleheaders, that one doesn't bother me nearly as much. But I do hope that after this year, they're not on board with it. But players were on board with the 7 inning doubleheader. So I think that's why it got passed to begin with. And this was more yesterday when the players in the union or the players in the league office met together. They did agree on this. So this is kind of, at least both sides are working together a little bit in this case. I don't know how you feel about the 7 inning doubleheaders, but I at least am on board with that. I just don't like the runner on second to start the 10th inning and so forth rule.
Yeah, the baseball purist in me is like, come on, a baseball game is 9 innings. It's always been 9 innings. It should always be 9 innings. But I don't mind the 7 inning doubleheaders nearly as much as I know some people might get irked by them. not so much in protection of the players, but as you mentioned earlier, it does save quite a bit of wear and tear on guys. Double headers can absolutely eat up a team's bullpen, and it can absolutely ravage a team's bullpen in some cases. And that might put that team, in a bad spot for the next week, sometimes week and a half. You have to call guys up, you have to send guys down. I think MLB's biggest plan is to try to have as few minor league call ups and send downs as possible between major leagues and AAA / AA, which is kind of where the man on second base to start extra innings comes in as well. Because I know if you start going 17, 18 innings, those crazy numbers, those crazy amounts, you've got like position players on the mound trying to go out there and pitch because you've already used up your whole bullpen. You've already, kind of gypped yourself over for the next week. Same thing with the double headers. So I dislike the player on second base. I don't think that should be a rule. That's just kind of clean cut for me. I can live with the 7-inning double headers. I don't necessarily like them, but I do understand where they're coming from for that. And like you said, I can live with it. Definitely moving forward. Maybe short term, but I don't know about long term.
Yeah, at least this year it's fine. But I think when everything gets back to normal, just go back to regular baseball.
Yeah,
be normal again.
Yeah. So there you go. 4 years ago, we kind of started on this roller coaster, and it's kind of sped up since. Hopefully, it can kind of slow down. Rule changes should be, especially in a baseball, especially in a sport as old as baseball, should be looked at again and looked at sideways and backwards before you implement it. Especially when it's something that could be as detrimental as a pitch clock or like an innings limit.
Right.
Something like that. But with that said, we will jump into our next team today. We've got the Kansas City Royals. They finished 4th place in the AL Central last season. Some of their key subtractions entering this year: third baseman Mike Franco, he's a free agent. Starting pitcher / bullpen arm Ian Kennedy is still a free agent, and former Cubs relief pitcher Mike Montgomery, he is also a free agent. He was with the team last year as well. Some of their additions, like I had no idea that the Royals made this many good additions. Carlos Santana, Michael A. Taylor, as my close friend Logan, who's a Nationals fan, just calls him MAT. He signed there. Hanser Alberto signed. Mike Minor. They brought Wade Davis back, and Irvin Santana even on a non-roster invite. Those are some good moves. Like this shocked me when I was looking their stuff up last night. I was like, okay, I see you guys there over there in Kansas City. I used to hate them with all my heart because I'm not a big fan of tanking, and they tanked for like nearly 3 decades straight. But I like what they're doing with this team. I like what they're doing. I like how they're building it back up. They're actually trying to go out and get guys and be competitive in the free agent market. These aren't big name guys, but Carlos Santana has been in the AL Central like all but 1 year of his career.
Yeah, all but 1 year.
Irvin Santana recently, is 3 years ago, was the wild card starter for the Minnesota Twins in the AL Central. Wade Davis as recently as 5 years ago, roughly, was their everyday closer and a stud. Michael A. Taylor just won a World Series in 2019. Hanser Alberto, I believe he was with Baltimore last season.
One of the best hitters in the league last year.
Yeah, he had a sneaky good season. Mike Minor was considered one of the top trade pieces last season with Texas. So some good additions. It's really some good additions. What are your your takeaways from their offseason so far?
One note on the offseason losses. Alex Gordon retired last year,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
they're Mr. Royal himself.
Hmm.
Happy retirement to you, by the way, Alex.
Yeah,
I'm
happy
gonna miss you out
retirement.
on the field. I love watching him play every day. But yeah, I think I agree with you. The Royals have been really sneaky this offseason. They've made affordable signings, and
Hmm.
they're kind of bringing a core together where I'm not. I know the AL Central is going to be pretty packed tight for the most part. I mean, you got the White Sox and the Twins this year. Detroit is up and coming, like we talked about last in the last episode. Kansas City is another team. I think based on what General Manager Dayton Moore's been doing, he's hoping that the talent that they've been building up in the minor leagues, plus adding some free agent pieces, is going to help boost this team and kind of make them competitive. And it makes sense because the Royals don't have the worst farm system, but they definitely don't have the best farm system either. Um, and it's not they're going to need some outside help, at least for right now. If they expect to be competitive in the very nearest future, they need some outside help, and they've been doing that. I love the addition of Carlos Santana. I don't know if Indians fans feel the same way, but I love the addition of him
Yeah.
going to Kansas City. I actually really like Michael A. Taylor being out there too. I think he's going to be a great addition in center field. He's not great with the bat, but he has a great glove. He's good.
Hmm.
He's got good speed. I think he's
Yep.
going to be really good addition for them. And I even like the addition of Mike Minor. He was a Royal previously,
Hmm.
and he's back with the team now. I really like him being a veteran presence in that rotation. Um, and even Hanser Alberto, he's kind of a veteran presence too in that bench. It's a shame that he had to sign a minor league deal and not get an actual contract.
Yeah.
Considering what he did for the Orioles the last couple of years, I felt like he was more deserving of at least a 1 year deal, not so much a minor league contract.
Yeah.
Reason Alberto can't make the team, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And as far as maybe they use him as trade bait later, but I like what the Royals have been doing. And just to give a little sneak peek, I think they're going to be a very surprise team in the Central this year, and just in baseball in general. I have a really good feeling about this club going into 2021. They kind of have a 2003 feel when they just
Hmm.
had that random 83 win year and were kind of competitive that whole season.
Yep.
It's kind of what this team feels like right now. It feels like they can be competitive this year if the pieces are right and things go well for them. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for them this year. I don't know about long term future, but I think if there's like immediate success to happen, I can easily see immediate success this year being a thing for them. Mike Matheny is the manager entering his second year with
Hmm.
the team. Um, he had some rocky relations in St. Louis, but he still led the Cardinals to winning seasons every year when he was there, got them to the 2013 World Series. Um, I think that Matheny is a good guy to have with a
Hmm.
younger squad of players. He had some drama in St. Louis, and I'm not going to go into detail with that. We can talk about that maybe at a later date, but I think him being in Kansas City is going to help out. I think he's the right guy to have at the helm with this group if they want some immediate success. But we'll see. I like what they have. I like what they've done this offseason too.
Yeah, I mean, just last year they went 26-34. I know it was a shortened season, but that's a respectable record.
Yeah,
If you can finish 8 games under 500, come a full 162 game season, it's nothing to scoff at all.
no,
Um, Transitioning over to their projected lineup, I do like it quite a bit. I've got Whit Merrifield as their leadoff hitter, playing in right field. I've got Michael A. Taylor, MAT. I have him as the number 2 hitter in center field. I got Salvi Perez as their catcher, hitting third. Cleaning up, I had Carlos Santana as their first baseman. Playing DH, hitting fifth. I have Jorge Soler. He's gonna hit, he's gonna hit like 45 home runs again this year. I like Hunter Dozier, who's kind of popped out a little bit recently. I like him to be a good power hitting third baseman. I have him hitting sixth. Hitting seventh, I have Adalberto Mondesi as their shortstop. He's another up and comer guy. Franchi Cordero, I have hitting 8th in left field. And I like Nicky Lopez or Hanser Alberto. You could insert either one, hitting 9th, playing second base. I do think they're going to give probably the benefit to Nicky Lopez, being that Hanser Alberto is a much more versatile player. He can play all over the infield. But who knows? Maybe they want to go with, the more quality bat with Alberto at second base. But I think spring training will kind of sort that out.
Yeah, I think Lopez is a lefty. I think Alberto and Lopez could easily platoon based on pitching matchup. That's a bold prediction for Soler to hit 45. He did hit 40. He hit 48, I think, in
I was gonna
2019.
say,
So it's, but that's hard to match. Back-to-back 40 homer seasons is really hard to match. So
it is.
Unless if you're Nelson Cruz, I mean, we'll see. That's a bold prediction.
A bold guy.
I've got a similar lineup to yours. I have Whit Merrifield in right field leading off. He also used to be a second baseman, but I think he's been a pretty good addition to the outfield. He's helped him out quite a bit. I have Alberto Mondesi at shortstop hitting second. Jorge Soler, the DH, I've got him hitting third. I think he's going to have a big year again for them. Carlos Santana at first base, I got him hitting cleanup. I got Salvador Perez, the catcher, hitting fifth, and he's another one of those catchers that's actually really good with the bat and with the glove. I know he had Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago, but in a short sample size last year, he did really well. I'll get his exact numbers up here really quick. But he's always been a consistent hitter. He can hit for power. He can hit for a pretty decent average. Last season, he hit in 37 games. He had a 333 batting average compared to his 235 in 2018. So I think I really like what they've gotten him. I think he's going to have another big year for them as well. I have Hunter Dozier playing third and batting sixth. Franchi Cordero in left field batting seventh. And I love Cordero being with the Royals. I was really big on him when he was in San Diego. I think it was he was just kind of in a spot where the outfield was super crowded. He wasn't really producing when they were giving him opportunities, so he kind of was the odd man out. But I think him being in Kansas City and actually getting that chance to play every day is going to help him. I have Nicky Lopez as the opening day second baseman right now and batting eighth, and then Michael A. Taylor in center batting ninth. I think he's a better bottom of the order guy, kind of a sneaky good bottom of the order guy because he can provide you some power too. He's capable of hitting 20 homers. I'm not sure how he's going to do at Kauffman because Kauffman is not a hitter's ballpark really, but I don't know. We'll see. If Jorge Soler can hit 48 homers, almost 50 at that ballpark, Taylor might be able to hit 20 like he did with the Nationals in 2019. So
like I said, looking over it last night, like this is not a bad lineup. You wouldn't look at this team and be like, oh yeah, they're rebuilding. Like I don't know that you would.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to compete with the Twins and White Sox especially, and I feel like this is a good chance for them to do that because the Indians aren't really – they don't seem to be a threat anymore this season. So this kind of feels like a good time for them to try and make some noise before everything, I guess, speed up the process. It kind of, that's what it feels like. They're trying to speed up the process.
Yeah. Looking at their bench just real quick. I like Cam Gallagher as their backup, Hanser Alberto as their main bench infielder, and a former Yankee farmhand, Ryan McBroom, as the first baseman / outfielder. He was a guy I was kind of excited to see. McBroom. He has some power. He's a good hitter. Unfortunately, Yankees with first base and outfield, they're always stacked to the brim with high value players. So he couldn't really find a job. I am happy to see him get an opportunity out there in Kansas City. Go ahead and we'll jump over to their starting rotation. Really not that bad. It shapes up to be a pretty good rotation. I like Brad Keller to be their opening day guy. I think he's ready for that opportunity. I know they have more veteran guys who maybe have been in that situation before, but I do like Brad Keller as their opening day. I like Danny Duffy as their number 2 starter. I like Mike Minor as their number 3 starter, Brady Singer as their number 4, and either Jacob Junis or Irvin Santana as their 5. And someone I'm going to cover here in a bit, Chris Bubik. Is it Bubik or Bubich?
Bubik,
Bubik.
Bubik. I think it's one of the two. Sorry for butchering the name.
Yeah. Chris B. I'll just call him Chris B for now. Chris B, not Bryant. Um, I like either Jacob Junis, Irvin Santana, or Chris Bubik as their number 5, maybe potential number 6 starter. Um, yeah, it they have a couple, Mike Minor, Danny Duffy, Irvin Santana, a couple of veteran guys. Santana and Minor more so than Duffy. Couple older guys have been there, have done that. Irvin Santana, once upon a time was on the Royal. Was he with the Royals for their World Series run, or it was right after?
No, Santana was there in 2013. He had like a 1 year
Oh, so
deal.
just before.
Yeah, it was like just before they got really good.
But yeah, I like the rotation. How do you kind of have yours set up?
Yeah, I've got a similar rotation. I think the Royals are also going to be a team that goes a 6-man rotation on the year. The only difference is the kind of the order. I think I still like Danny Duffy as the opening day guy. To me, he's still like their ace pitcher, kind of their most consistent guy. So I like Duffy as the number 1. I've got Mike Minor as the number 2 right now. Brady Singer being the number 3, Brad Keller number 4, and the 5 and 6 spots are kind of interesting. Still not really sure what to do there, but Chris Bubik did a really good job in a short sample size last year. He was only 1 in 6 and 10 starts, so I know the record wasn't
Mm-hmm.
great, but you can't really put record into the mix when you look at some of the other numbers.
Yeah.
He had a 4.32 ERA and 50
Yep.
innings last year, so I like Bubik being a potential opening day roster guy. I also like Irvin Santana as a potential
Mm-hmm.
starter in that rotation, and Jacob Junis I think is another guy to look
Yep.
out for. They have some potential there. They could kind of flip flop some of those rotation spots. But yeah, I think Duffy, Minor, Singer, and Keller are obviously the top 4, and then from
Yes.
there, the Royals have options as to what
Oh
they
yeah.
might want to do.
Yeah. I like it.
I do too.
And this isn't me just kind of being like, like PC, like, oh yeah, I like the moves. No, I actually like these moves that they've been making. Um, Even more so, I like their bullpen quite a bit. They brought back 2 former guys who were on that World Series staff and were part of one of the best bullpens, really, like in Major League history.
Yeah.
Greg Holland, they brought him back last season, and he performed actually surprisingly well. It's almost been since his last year in Kansas City that he's performed, that well.
Right.
Wade Davis, they're taking a flyer on him, hoping that maybe some familiar ground, and technically, a new change of scenery to go back to somewhere that he had a lot of success at. That could help him. Jesse Hahn, who not so long ago was considered, a decent starting pitcher. They've got him in the bullpen. They have Kyle Zimmer in the bullpen. Josh Stalmont, Scott Barlow, Richie Lovelady. I like it. I like their bullpen quite a bit, especially if they can get kind of like a good 1-2-3 going out of Holland, Davis, and maybe Zimmer or Hahn. If they can get something going with like those 3 guys, they could very easily work back to being a bullpen dominant team. And really, if you can get 6 innings, 5 innings, even maybe out of your starting guy, that could almost spell the end of the game for some teams.
Yeah, I know Fangraphs doesn't really project the Royals bullpen to be that great, but I think they are
Mm-hmm.
going to be a lot better than people think.
Yeah.
The closer situation will be interesting. I'm kind of curious to see who they go with. To me, Greg Holland seems to make the most sense, but Wade Davis wouldn't be a bad option either. So I think, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see if maybe the Royals went with both guys throughout the year as closers. I would say maybe Holland has the edge right now to be the closer for opening day. But again, I think because both guys are good enough to be closers, I can easily see either one of them being in that spot. So for me, Holland and Davis, and then Jesse Hahn, he's a good guy to have in their pen too. I think he could be a seventh inning guy, maybe kind of one of those multiple innings eaters. Um, so I like Hahn being towards the back end of that bullpen. Josh Stalmont is another guy to look for. Kyle Zimmer as well. Zimmer is dealing with an injury right now. He's dealing with an elbow issue, so I'm not sure what his status looks like going into spring training, but I think that Zimmer will easily play a part. Scott Barlow is another guy to keep an eye on.
Yep.
He's projected on Fangraphs to be, along with Stalmont, their top relief pitcher used. Barlow is 28 years old. Last season, in 32 games, he recorded a 4.2 ERA. I know it's a small sample size, but he's been rather consistent throughout his career. He had a 4.22 ERA in 61 games in 2019. So I think this is another guy to look out for. I think he's going to be a major contributor to their bullpen. Another guy I want to keep an eye on, Richard Lovelady, he's one, but Jake Newberry is another guy that I've got my eye on as well. And Newberry has been on the team since 2018. He's been pretty consistent as well. He hasn't pitched a huge amount of games, but he's been a consistent presence for them throughout the last 3 seasons. I think he's going to play a bigger part in that bullpen this year. But yeah, I really like what the Royals have, and they have a couple other guys who might make the team later on. Tyler Zuber and Ronald Bolanos. Bolanos is one of their top prospects. I think that the Royals are pretty set right now. I like what they've got as far as bullpen goes. I think this is going to be a sneaky good bullpen, one that is not to fret. I think that I know Fangraphs doesn't really have them being that successful this year, but I think they are, like I said at the beginning of the show, they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. And I think the bullpen is going to be a big factor in that. If their bullpen can be as dominant as they were back in the glory days of Davis and Holland, those 2 championship runs, they are a team to watch out for. They are not going to be a team that goes down easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably likely that they're looking at a fourth, at the very best, third place finish. But yeah, as they sit right now, they figure to at least be hovering around 500 going into the season. So I'll jump over to a few prospects that I like. I had a lot of fun doing these 3 Royals prospects. Actually, thinking that I was going to discuss this guy as much as, we have. I probably should have looked up how to properly pronounce his name, but I'm going to look at Chris Bubic. Starting pitcher, 23 years old. He's taken 40th overall back in 2018. He wasn't bad in 2020, as we'd mentioned earlier, 1-6, but he had a nice 4.32 ERA in 50 innings. So, just maybe a lack of run production kind of bit him a couple times, which tends to happen on rebuilding teams. Believe it or not, what really attracted me to Bubic is the fact that he has no AA or AAA appearances in his career. This man has never seen AA or AAA at any point in time. He does have a 13-8 record and a 2.59 ERA in 36 minor league starts. He should probably start this season at AAA. He could see some time with the major league squad in 2021, but I think that he would benefit quite a bit from getting a little extra seasoning. And it's crazy to think that, never appearing in a AA or AAA game. I don't know how many guys can say that they've done that. But not only to do that, but to come up to the major leagues and then put up a 4.32 ERA in 50 innings. That's really decent.
Yeah.
I think it's it is possible he might start at Double A. I think that because of how well he performed, he probably gets an invite to spring training, and unless he really shocks the team leaders, I do think it's likely we'll see him at Triple A entering the season. But he's a guy to keep an eye out for. Another guy to keep an eye out for is a guy they just acquired this offseason, a player who has one of the best names in baseball. An infielder, switch hitter. He's from the Bahamas, and his name is Lucius Fox. If you Google the name Lucius Fox, I believe it was one of Batman's side, like one of his like his butler, I believe. Is I don't follow DC that much, but I do know that if you Google the name Lucius Fox, that's what pops up. So you have to type in Lucius Fox baseball player in order to actually see Lucius Fox. But he's 23 years old. Like I said, he's a switch hitter. He can play multiple infield positions. He's from the Bahamas. Like that's like a life dream to just like live in the Bahamas. Originally was with San Francisco. He found his way to Tampa Bay, and he was actually just acquired by Kansas City this past offseason in exchange for outfielder Brett Phillips. He's super fast. His bat still needs work. He ends a 244 batting average in 417 minor league games. So still plenty of work that needs to be done there. I think it's still likely that he needs some more Double A or Triple A time. You could see Lucius manning shortstop or second base for the Royals come 2022. I think that if he's needed in a pinch, he could see some time in 2021, likely as an injury replacement for somebody, or maybe a September call-up if they decide to use one of their two call-ups for that. The last guy I want to cover, another newer guy. This is Bobby Witt Jr., a 20-year-old shortstop. He was the second overall pick back in 2019. As it stands right now, he is the 7th overall prospect according to MLB.com. His dad, he is actually the son of Bobby Witt Sr. now, I guess. He was a 16-year vet in the major leagues from 1986 to 2001. He appeared in 397 games, pitched to a 4.83 ERA, spent 11 years with Texas, and unfortunately was on that 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks team. Unfortunately. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know he was on that team. I was too young.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here with my Yankee jersey, my Yankee hat, and my replica 2009 World Series ring sitting beside me. So
yeah, we still have 2001 to hold against.
I'm not biased at all. But yeah, I mean, this guy's an overall stud. According to Baseball America, on a 20 to 80 scale, all of his skills are 60s on the board as they stand right now, which is like really good. His only minor league experience to this point is 37 games that he played in the Arizona League in 2019. He put up good numbers there. Nothing to bat your eye at. So he probably is still another couple years away. Like I said, besides those 37 games in the Arizona League, he has not appeared in any other minor league level. But I mean, he's the future of that team. He's, I believe, their top prospect, if not one of the one. Yeah, I believe that I probably should have looked up. But yeah, I knew he was one of the top prospects in baseball. The top prospect for Kansas City. And it's kind of easy to get lost in how many great prospects are coming up these days. But Bobby Witt Jr. has kind of slid under the table a little bit. And I figured that it was kind of due for me to kind of go over him and remind you guys that like he's going to be really good, really good.
Yeah, I think the Royals do have something to be excited for in Bobby Witt Jr. My three prospects, one guy I want to talk about who did make the big league club last year, Kelvin Gutierrez.
Mm-hmm.
He actually appeared in 2019. That was his first year
Yep.
on the Royals, and he hasn't really come around just yet for the club. Hitting wise, he's been a little underwhelming, but he is a 284 minor league hitter. I would expect that he should play a role on the team. I think he just needs more playing time, to be honest. He still has his rookie status as well. He's only played in 24 games lifetime, 20 in 2019 and 4 last year. He's 26 years old, so he's a little bit on the older side as far as prospects go, but I would expect that he should be on the team to some shape or form. And I'm excited for him. I think that if he does get more of that playing time that he needs, he can be a bigger impact on the club. So I'd be on the lookout for him. Ronald Bolanos, I mentioned him earlier. He's their number 17 prospect. He's 24 years old. He played a few games in 2019 with the Padres. And then last year, he made 2 starts for the Royals. Didn't do great, 12.27 ERA, but his minor league numbers are a little better to look at. I think he's a guy who is going to need some time in the minors to start the year, but across 2 levels in 2019, he had a 3.66 ERA, 13-7 record. And really, I think he only pitched on the big league club last year just to get him some of that experience and let him get some innings to eat. But he's a guy I would look out for. He's our number 17 prospect, like I said. And then Khalil Lee, he's an outfielder for the team. He's their number 8 prospect. He's on the big league roster as of right now. Has not appeared in the major leagues yet, but he is a guy who gets on base. He's a career 3.66 on base percentage. He can hit for some power. His career best was 17 homers in 2017 with Single A Lexington. So he's got a little bit of pop there. He's not the best hitter by any means. He's a 256 lifetime hitter, but he has hit 263 and 264 respectively his last 2 minor league seasons. I'm not expecting him to be on the opening day roster, but if he has a good spring, I would expect to see him at least in AAA this year, maybe make the big league club at some point. But the Royals have a number of prospects who are knocking on the door as well that can easily make the team within the next couple of seasons. I think kind of like the Tigers, there is a lot to be excited for here. But the Royals, by no means, it's not like they have to win it this year. They've got time to build up the talent, bring back those glory days like they had in 2014, 2015. Because most of those guys are gone now that were on that team. So I'm excited for them, and I think that they do have a bright future ahead of them, even with the White Sox and Tigers seemingly to be the teams to beat in that division. I think Kansas City is going to be a force to reckon with. I think they're going to be a force to reckon with this year. They're kind of like the team I'm watching out for, I guess, going into this season. I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah. They're going to be, I mean, all it takes is the White Sox to have, some sophomore slumps with a lot of their guys, the new guys that they had called up, some sophomore slumps from them, and maybe they're only like 90 wins. The Indians, as we've seen, they're in a rebuild mode. They may be, well under 500 this season. At the very best, maybe around 500. And as far as the Twins go, yeah, they're kind of back and forth. But probably mid 90s in terms of win. It's very possible that if everything goes right, the Royals could almost see a third or second place finish.
Yeah,
that would be absolutely best case scenario to see a second place finish. A lot of teams would have to do a lot of bad things for them to see a second place finish, but I won't rule it out mathematically.
As competitive as the Central is, it's up for grabs at the same time. Like anyone could win it realistically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess with that said, I think I'd say the Royals probably have the biggest ceiling to floor gap because they could probably, their floor right now is probably 65 wins, because
Yep.
everything could go just as wrongly, if wrongly is even a word, just as wrong
Sure.
for them as they could go well for them. So I think 65 wins, I've got that as their floor, but I've got their ceiling as high as 85. And I only say that because I think this Central is that much up for grabs that the Indians, I don't expect the Indians to compete, but they have Terry Francona as the skipper, and they
Yeah.
have a good coaching staff to begin with. They've surprised us before, so I think that, it can't quite rule them out. The Twins, still expect them to be a force to reckon with. Obviously, the White Sox, they've got their future up now.
Yep.
And the White Sox did make the playoffs last year for the first time in 11, 12 years. So I think there is a lot of force to be reckoned with, but 85 wins, I think, is doable for this club, especially if they can keep themselves around the 500 mark.
Yep.
Going to the trade deadline, maybe they can bolster the lineup, maybe bolster the rotation a little bit. I don't know. I think kind of looking at this team, they remind me a lot of the 2011 Diamondbacks team.
Okay.
And they just have a similar feel. The 2011 Diamondbacks team was very surprising for a lot of reasons because one, in 2010, they were 65 and 97, and I think had the 5th overall pick in the draft. And then in 2011, they just jumped over everyone, beat the defending world champ Giants in the division, won 94 games. It was 29 win improvement. I think it was the largest win improvement in baseball at the time, in baseball history. Yeah. And kind of looking at what they had as a team, they weren't really busy in the offseason, but they had some guys come up, contribute to the team. They got good, they stayed good, didn't really look back when they got ahead. And I feel like the Royals are in a similar position. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but I think that they've got the looks of a team that they have the talent that's there. And if the prospects come up to the system and can help them contribute later in the season, as long as they're staying at 500 or about a little above, and they can put themselves in good position at the trade deadline, I can easily see this team being a wild card, or at least a borderline wild card team.
That 2011 Diamondbacks team, those would have had guys like Mark Reynolds. He was
No, Reynolds had just left. Justin Upton, Miguel Montero, Paul Goldschmidt broke into the team that year. That was his rookie year.
Was Chris Young still there at the time?
Young was there. Ian Kennedy. We just talked about Kennedy. He was a 21 game winner that year. So
Aaron Hill
he got traded to the team that year.
Okay.
We won't go too much more into that, but just to put comparison there, as what the Royals have, I think this is a team that can be a force, and I think that 85 wins is very doable for them, if not more, if things that go right for them.
Yeah. Royals fans, you got a lot to look forward to, whether it be this year or maybe as early as next year. I'll go right around that, like 68 to 82, maybe 83 wins as a Florida ceiling. It should be an exciting season to watch them play out there in Kansas City.
Yeah, this team I think is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be frustrating at times because that's just how teams are when they have a lot of youngsters, but they are a very well-rounded team, and I'll just keep saying it. I believe they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. So don't count them out.
Nope.
It could either go really well or it could go really bad real quick. But I'm leaning more towards it's going to go this year is going to be a fun year for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, there you go. Our first 2 episodes in the book with video. Hopefully that can hold your guys' attention maybe a little better than just trying to listen to us. Looking at two static pictures of us should be beneficial for you guys. Like I said, we do this for you guys. We want to make sure that we're at the top of our game, making sure that we're kind of doing our thing to make sure that you guys can have as nice of an experience as possible. I know my quality video wise may not be great yet. I am getting a new webcam on Saturday. which will be, replacing this out, and that should be much better quality. I know I'm not like 8-bit or anything like that, but yeah, I want to make sure that I put in as much time and effort for you guys as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the more we do this, the better we're gonna get, and
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna eventually start having more like visuals.
Mm-hmm.
It won't just be us. Like I know on the last episode, I shared that the Pedro Gomez
Yep.
photo. So we're gonna do more of that too. We're gonna actually like put our projections in writing more.
Yep.
So been doing that. I did that on Twitter a little bit over the weekend, and we're gonna do it again. But um, it's mostly I'm just trying to figure out a good method for how to do this. I haven't really found anything smooth yet, so that's kind of why we're still doing this. But as we figure things out, we're kind of going along. That's what the goal is to do more of. And if we can get some copyright permission from
Mm-hmm.
owners in Major League Baseball and stuff like that, we'll hopefully maybe even incorporate some video as time
Yep.
goes on. But yeah, we're very thankful for you guys just catching in, checking in with us, and hearing what we have to say. We're very grateful to our 20 subscribers on YouTube. We're grateful to our Twitter followers. We're grateful for everyone who's been there from the very beginning. We have had people from the very beginning who have been on board with us, and by
Mm-hmm.
very beginning I mean like day one.
Yeah.
So we're very grateful for all of you guys, and we appreciate your support. We love you all, and we hope to continue to be doing this as consistently as possible.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tomorrow, Chicago White Sox should be another fun one. I know the standings say they finished second last year, but they had the 7th seed in the playoffs. So
Oh, okay.
it's like, no, we're doing the White Sox tomorrow, just because of postseason seedings. But should be another fun episode to do. I'm excited to see or to break them down. I don't like the White Sox that much, but I like what they've got. So
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
fun. Hope you tune in with us. And again, if you know any Royals fans or just any baseball fans out there, be sure to share this podcast with them. Follow us on our social medias. YouTube page is Dugout Talk. Facebook page is Dugout Talk. Username is @Real Dugout Talk. And then Twitter handle @Dugout Talk 1. And I believe we've got Instagram now. Is that, or is that
That's
in the
going.
making?
That's going live today.
All
Later
right,
today.
cool.
Yep. Later today, you guys will see our first Instagram posts. Probably am not going. I'm probably not going to like backlog everything. We'll probably just start fresh with Instagram. Start posting some pictures and maybe some behind the scenes stuff. Maybe some pictures of players we talk about, or how every day we talk about a guy. Today, Jordan Zimmerman, literally talked about him an hour ago, and well, probably about an hour and a half ago now, but an hour ago we just signed a contract with the Milwaukee Brewers. So maybe I'll kind of keep tabs on players that we so we can kind of collect our royalty checks later down the road from them for being so large influence on them signing a contract so directly.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna throw some cool stuff at you guys for Instagram. Tomorrow we'll probably later today we'll have it up on our Twitter and our Facebook, what our Instagram links are, and then we'll go from there, and you guys can start following us on that.
Absolutely. Again, thank you guys. We love you so much. We're very thankful for you. And please, we hope that you'll continue to support us and just keep watching us and hearing us noobs talk about what we know about the
Couple
game of
dudes.
baseball. It's just a fun time. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Chicago White Sox. If you know any White Sox fan, keep them on alert with this. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep. See you guys.